The cold opening, guys. We forgot the cold open.
Oh no! and then Hutch comes in like, cheese! Wallace catchphrases.
Okay, music time.
Hans Zimmerman did the Wallace theme. Wallace and Gromit theme, whatever.
Wallace and Gromit. You gotta not leave Gromit out of this.
I know, it didn't fit.
Wallace and Gromit are lovers. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode
They're
11.
Polly with Wallace's cheese.
No woman will ever come between Wallace and his cheese. We learned that last time.
Literally last time, because this took place before the fourth short.
Not even Winsley did. Wait, no, hold on. That doesn't work. Fuck it. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 11 of Living The DreamWorks, where we talk about every single DreamWorks movie, and also these Aardman films that keep popping up for some reason.
Yeah, weird, but hey, they exist. And you know who also exists? We do. I'm Random Bystander here.
I'm the Wash.
And I am Claire.
And do we like cheese? Can we eat cheese?
I can't eat cheese anymore.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Wallace would not want to be your friend.
No, they give me such a rash, can't stand the stuff.
And then he'd slam.
I don't understand. You don't like cheese.
Because, like, Wallace is, like, he seems cool enough that I would want to, like, hang out and, like, try to eat the cheese and then, like, deal with the stomach problems later.
Yeah. You okay in the bathroom?
We're okay in the loo.
We apologize to all
Gromit,
Brits.
see if you can help a good pal the wash out with my newest invention.
No, I was gonna say
The
I'm gonna,
automatic air freshener 3000.
I'm getting like. It turns out that like his toilet has like multiple hands, and I'm getting like pummeled inside because I pushed the pummel button instead of the flush button.
Eey. Gromit, you have to remind me to tinker that down a little bit. And then Gromit goes,
I apologize to all Brits and Xenoblade actors and everywhere.
So welcome to this episode where we talk about the 11th DreamWorks animated film, Wallace and Gromit. Full title: Wallace and Gromit in The Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
Yes, the Wallace and Gromit's first, and I think only feature-length film.
So far.
There
Is another one in the works. It has no involvement with DreamWorks, and we will soon talk about why that is.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm not surprised.
This is the second collaboration with Aardman Animations, and this one if you haven't seen our last episode with the bonus episode about the four major Wallace and Gromit stores, I highly recommend going back to that one, especially because like turns out this one has quite a lot for people who like the Wallace and Gromit
yeah.
stores.
There was a lot of references.
It wasn't loaded with references or anything, but I definitely felt like having seen Chicken Run definitely not so much impacted my thoughts on this, but I don't even want to say made me look at it differently. It's just like, oh, so like, I guess it kind of made me look at like Chicken Run differently because I see it as, the testing grounds for Wallace and Gromit that it was. And I'm looking back on, when I watched it, I was like, oh, that's cool. But now that I see Wallace and Gromit, I'm like, oh, wow, yeah.
And the last one we didn't have, I was the only one that had any real experience with the Wallace and Gromit source. Do any of you have experience with Wallace and Gromit, the video game? I mean, the movie. The video game, the movie.
I did not play the video game, but I did watch the film quite a lot. It was my first exposure to Wallace and Gromit, in general. I like Halloween movies. Who doesn't like Halloween movies? It's movies that are scary but also for kids, so they can't be too scary. So it was just the right amount of scary for me, and I thought it was great. I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious. I loved the claymation. I didn't quite understand the process of how it all was made, but I was like, it looks cool. I enjoy it. They look like the Play-Doh I play with. And I just thought it was really nice and really cool and funny. I think I own the DVD still.
Okay.
Then about a week or so ago, I watched the Wallace and Gromit shorts for a podcast, and here I am.
Claire, do you have history?
I want it to go last because it's a very rich and deep history, but I know you're a big Wallace and Gromit fan, so well, I guess Random and I are now too, but you've been longer than us, so I'll go next. I've never seen it.
All right.
So rich.
I know. Swimming in that money.
Weirdly, I'm in between you and Random.
Really?
I've only seen this movie once in the theaters, so this is my. I'm pretty sure I haven't revisited this movie since. So this is my first time watching this since October 2005.
Oh wow!
Which is like 18 years ago almost.
Yeah.
Am I the Wallace and Gromit Curse of the Were-Rabbit expert?
Same with Random though. I remember really enjoying this. Mostly, I remember that like it was raining the same day. So it's like I just remember just being like kind of giddy as we were like stepping out of my dad's car and just having to like rush back into the house because it was pouring outside that day. It was perfect.
Yay, rain!
So it's perfect conditions for watching a vegetable horror film. And yeah, I was already a big fan of animation. This seems really cool, and it's Wallace and Gromit. Like you get to finally see them on the big screen. It just seems like exciting for the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's no longer shorts anymore.
Although they went into shorts later on
went
anyway.
right
They went right back into it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We should add, like, for context, like, the close shave, that was 10 years before Curse of the
Holy
Were-Rabbit.
crap.
Yeah.
So most of the world have not seen these guys in a while. But I just love that, like, right off the bat, they set up these two the only way Aardney can with picture gags.
Yeah. Yeah.
With like home photos.
You know, I want to talk more about that opening. So, plot synopsis.
All right, the plot synopsis is we're back to the standard of a Wallace and Gromit short. The Wallace and Gromit have a new gig. They have a new business. They are rabbit wranglers, becoming especially popular nowadays with the big vegetable festival coming up. Suddenly, things go wrong when Wallace decides to use his mind-altering machine.
He just pulls out.
Literally what it's called, too.
But my latest, is it Jimmy Neutron? He's just pulling shit out.
Don't you fucking dare compare those two. If I hear Wallace going, brain blast, I will fucking...
Gromit goes, well, hey there, Wallace. What you cooking up today?
Hey there, Wallace.
Oh, cheese and cracker is my favorite.
Wallace is Hugh Neutron.
Cheese pie?
All right, look, we're not doing. I know I'm the one who started this, but we're not doing this 2 podcasts in a row. Let's move on.
Okay, fine. Anyway, with the mind-altering machine, they accidentally create a monster, a giant rabbit that starts eating all the vegetables. So they have to find that monster, and also there's some villas involved in those somewhere.
Yeah, village and Gaston. I mean Victor Cordemais.
Quildamort.
Quildamort. Oh, don't even, again. They're better than that.
And he has a new love interest, Lady Campanula.
Tottington.
Tottington.
Yeah,
Or Toddy.
Lady Campanula Tottington. Or Toddy.
Or Toddy.
Voiced by Helena Bonham Carter. Of
Yeah.
all people, which I didn't realize that until I watched the movie. I was like, she's in this?
And also, Victor Quartermain is voiced by Ramesses.
What?
You did.
That's
You couldn't tell?
That's Ralph Fiennes. That's
Yeah, you couldn't tell.
No!
I mean, I had to get through the accent first, but I'm like, this definitely sounds familiar.
yeah.
And then,
Oh my God.
Wallace
Oh
and
God.
Gromit opened the sea so that the Hebrews could get through. No, I'm sorry, the vegetables could get through.
Like
Oh, the rabbits. I'm stupid. The bunnies could get through.
Wallace!
You beat me to it. You beat me to it.
Oh my God. Wow, he's so damn good.
No, it was a good performance, so we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, it's great performances. Now that we have established the basics of this plot, which is pretty basic, it's more of a more of a framing device for all the visuals and all the gags that follow along.
The opening was great.
Oh, I love that opening so much.
Okay, fine.
I didn't realize the picture gags told a story.
They
kind
do.
of.
That's what's so good about it.
Yeah, it's like they start getting it. Wallace gets pissed at something. Gromit gets pissed at something. They look away from each other, one in each frame, and then they look back, and then they're back to being nice and happy together. It's small, but it's cute.
It's the story of Wallace and Gromit.
I think what's especially funny is like I realized this like after I finished watching the movie is that is like what they could have had in the movie. They could have had that like you're not my friend anymore.
I'm really worried they were going to do something like that just to increase the runtime.
They even like tried to. There was like Wallace was like being like angry at Gromit, and Gromit was just like walked away. He was like, "Where are you going?"
Yeah, I was just gonna
You're
say
doing it again.
You're going off on your own all the time. He goes up and is like, "You're doing it again.
You're doing it again." They have that mini arc in the movie a few times, but it's not drawn out enough or annoying enough to be a problem.
Yeah, they could have made it a problem.
There's
but
no misunderstanding. It's you're doing it again. Wallace follows him. Gromit, what are you doing? Don't you see what you're doing? Oh. So that's how all of these misunderstanding tropes should end, with one character going, oh.
Communication.
I was expecting, like, jumping ahead. I do want to get back to the opening just because it's like so cute. But like, yeah, I do like that they reveal the mystery like pretty early into the film. I think like halfway you realize
God, it's got to be less.
Yeah, like right at the middle of the film, you realize, oh, it's Wallace.
Yeah,
and like, they don't try to like drag it out any further. It's just like, okay, it's Wallace. Now it's a problem.
Yeah. Okay, so I will say, as somebody who picked up like kind of immediately that it's fine. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but just as somebody that picked up right away that it was Wallace, I thought the ways that they kept you in suspense were really cool. I'm definitely bringing this up way too early, but what I did not see coming was, if I'm the were-rabbit, the next thing you're going to tell me is that Hutch downstairs is turning into me. I did not see that. And then they go down and it's like, oh, wait, that's exactly what's happening. And that's how Gromit convinces Wallace. I did not see that coming.
He comes out walking on two legs with a Wallace sweater.
The Wallace slippers. Hello, Gromit. Oh no, I am the were-rabbit. And the fact that it worked just makes it so much better.
I can't answer the door like this. Coming! I already am.
Oh my god, that scene too was great. Well, we'll get there.
I do want to jump back really quick to that opening because like we see Wallace with like full hair.
Yes, and a baby Gromit. Literally like a pacifier. He's literally got like a pacifier in his mouth.
And then they fast forward and he's losing more of his hair and Gromit already graduated from Dogworth College. Dogworth University, I think.
If we're gonna talk about like one of those specific pictures, quote unquote, the one I loved the most was right after Gromit is trying to get Wallace to not eat the cheese. Gromit looks all disappointed, and Wallace has the block of cheese in his mouth. And it's just like, it's Wallace's face, but his mouth is the block of cheese.
It's like it's like perfectly. It looks like the when like like Jerry the mouse would eat a block of cheese, he just becomes the block of cheese.
Yeah, just instead of the mouse, it's just Wallace's face. The rest of him looks normal.
And honestly, this is even the actual opening of the film because like
yeah, but this does. You're right. This does such a good job.
Oh no, it's great. I love it. It sets the goofy tone perfectly. But there's also the moment where we see like the rabbits like infiltrate a vegetable garden.
It looked like a slasher film.
Yes. And then it cuts to like a blinking eyeball. No, you see the blinking eyeball of the gnomes, which is also clever. Because gnomes they've become a theme of Wallace and Gromit. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
And the gnome connects to, and this is like great the way they established it. It connects to a picture that with the sign that says like our valued clients. So already we see like, oh, this is how they figure out who's.
Yeah.
It can't just be like it can't just be like a blinking light on a phone. They have to have this complicated thing.
Those, honestly, those pictures, the creepiest part of the whole movie.
Yes. Oh god, when he makes Lady Toddington's picture and he just posts the two eyes and then plasters her eyeless photo. But yeah, it's just like a cool thing. And then you see the classic of them getting ready, which it's so good.
Oh man, I miss it. We just finished watching them, and I already I
know.
This.
Same here. What I love, and I mean, obviously, a Wallace and Gromit short is longer than like 4 minutes, but outside of this standard, like the wahees and stuff like that from Wallace, this is basically quiet for the first 4 to 4.5 minutes. It felt like watching one of the shorts before it's like, okay, we're a movie. We need to start, adding a little bit more to this.
I think like the first line of dialogue we hear. Oh wait, there was the farmer. So the first thing we hear from like Wallace, was oh wait, no, the farmer didn't go out. Never mind. No, the very first line. I think he said like "cracking job, Gromit" or something.
Cracking job, Gromit. Yeah, that's like one of his.
I think that was the very first thing he said. Like it was a quiet. They're like signaling to each other.
All silent.
Yeah, and then like it's only when things go wrong for Gromit that Wallace is like, "Great work,
great work, Gromit." I also love how Gromit's the one doing all the work, and Wallace is like, "Yeah, that's us. We're anti-pesto."
Anti-pesto is like one of many, many puns. By the way.
Oh yeah, that's a food pun, isn't it? I
don't want to go too far away from that great the waking up sequence, because like they have this again, the Rube Goldberg machine where they have like it starts up a teapot that cranks this wheel, and it all goes up to a finger poking the bottom of a bed.
I love how convoluted and hilarious these inventions are.
Exactly.
Oh, they press the auto start button, and it's just like a hand cranking the car from the inside.
Yes.
By the way, that car, Jeffrey Katzenberg wanted Wallace to use a cooler car, and they said no.
Good.
What about this cheese-loving man looks cool?
They catch the rabbit, and that's where we start to meet our villagers,
which is like a priest, a woman who really loves her pumpkin, like really, really loves her pumpkin.
The one guy with like the large eye that talks like a sailor.
Yes.
Yeah, the old dude. So I found this out like literally, I don't know, like 20-30 minutes ago. The police chief, whose name is P.C. Albert McIntosh.
He's also bald, like he removes his hat.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh my god, that reveal. It reminds me of something, I can't remember what, but like this.
I'm trying to think, like it just like I know it's
it reminds me I could use a new hat.
Yes! I knew SpongeBob! I just wasn't sure. Great. Again, the villagers have a lot of personality. They remind me of, again, I don't know if this is going to be accurate because you watch this show more than I did. It reminded me of Simpsons, like the mob mentality of the Simpsons.
Okay, and that absolutely. Like season 5, season 6. When, like, you know, if a pen dropped the wrong way, they start an angry mob. Yeah.
Yes, pretty much. And that's pretty much, they are so obsessed with this vegetable competition. Hey, we're simple folk. It's all we have.
But this would be the first vegetable festival that we wouldn't be able to do in 500 years.
Not even the great nematodes of 20.
No, the slugs.
Slugs,
ducks.
yes.
No,
Not
first one was slug. Second one was ducks.
Not even the slugs of 1954 would have stopped it. The priest is probably my favorite, if I'm being completely honest with you, though.
It's the old lady for me, the one who loves her pumpkin. She just, I know, like, the priest is great, and he has the most to do, but, oh my god.
Beware the beast!
It's almost like when the penguin pulled out the gun when Wallace is running around as the were-rabbit trying to get to safety, and she effectively pulls the gun out on him towards the end. Like, I got vibes from the second short. It was so funny.
My favorite part with the woman was when near the end when she's like, "Your vegetables will be bait." And then you see the pumpkin, and then it looks away, and then it cuts to the pumpkin.
Come back!
Come back!
I know what's
Go away!
We're talking about the priest. What I loved was like, it's weirdly like I wasn't expecting it to get like blatantly religious. There's several great visuals with the priest, but like one where he's praying for like growth, but also that like his grows fast bigger than everybody else's, and he like waters his vegetable with a holy water wand or whatever you call it.
They didn't pull like any attention to that. It was just like a visual gag that you could get, and it wasn't like, all right, holy water, work your magic or anything like that. It was just, he did it, moved on.
And there's so many jokes that are like that.
Yes, it's so refreshing. I love it so much.
Like or like this one is like a little more blatant, but like he's the were-rabbit did the first were-rabbit attack, and he like he reaches back. You think he's reaching for the cross, but he reaches for two cucumbers that he uses as a cross.
Very good detail I noticed in that scene when the monster was approaching him, and he's like, "Oh, do you want the food?" He's like, "Okay, well, you can have some. It is for the needy." But the look on his face is like, go away. Like, he's like, "Oh, I'm the priest, I gotta help you out," but like, technically, if you don't want to eat, that's fine.
Yes. And then he sees him, he's like,
I love that he's the one that species had about the were-rabbit.
Like he knew about it all along.
Yeah.
It's like that typical scene you see in horror movies where the whole town gathers up and there's this one guy who like seemingly knows everything, and then they play the organ, and then you're just like, knock it off.
The organ, yes.
I don't know what exactly he says. It's some British slang.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna talk about that's horroring it up, to I guess paraphrase what Random said. This whole movie, the vibe that I got, not like the vibe that I got, but just what it reminded me of in terms of like what it did to horror. I was thinking of like Luigi's Mansion so much. Just like there are these horror tropes, and like if they wanted to, this could actually be scary. The pieces are there, but they're using the atmosphere and the horror tropes to make funny gags.
Yeah. There are some moments where they like go pretty straightforward with.
Oh yeah.
If it wasn't for the circumstances, this would be a straight horror film. Like the great little scene with Gromit all by himself, which was another thing. Like, if you're like a little bit smart, you would make the connection of like, it's Wallace. But like when he's like he's like honking on the horn. And just like worse and worse things happening, and then he just keeps honking at the horn because he can't say anything. He can't scream.
Yeah.
All he can do is honk.
Or when and it might be the same scene, but when he gets the were-rabbit with the rope, or the monster, I guess, with the rope, and the monster digs underground, and the car. It's great animation, by the way. I have no idea how they did that with clay. But the monster burrows underground, and Gromit in the car is dragged underground and the dirt is flickering. Like a cute gag with like, oh, but wipe the windshields like really, really fast. But there's the intensity of not knowing what the monster is and just being in like this really, I guess, claustrophobic situation where you're stuck like buried underground as the dirt is flickering on the car. You have no idea where you are. And just out of sight is this monster that you can't see.
Yeah. That is terrifying.
Yeah, that was really good.
They made it funny.
Oh yeah,
that itself is terrifying.
No, that's what I like about stuff like this and Luigi's Mansion. It could be scary and the pieces are all there and they make it work sometimes. There are frights, but it would much rather be a good time.
And it also like it borrows so heavily from like horror of all kind, from like the really like obvious like jump scares types to the more like subtle psychological stuff. It feels like something more that I could say to Rancid. But the priest, like his like overall design reminded me of the of Dracula from the 90s film that I can't remember all this.
I think wait, are you talking about
Mel Brooks one or?
Yeah, I was about to say, is it Mel Brooks?
Dracula dead.
Dracula dead and loving it?
Not dead and loving it. Oh my god. No, the one with Keanu Reeves.
Okay, I actually don't know that one. I only know Dead and Loving
It. Yeah, that's the exactly.
I guess we were dead and not loving it.
Okay, it was called Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's from 1992, and it had Gary Oldman with like old makeup and just very high white hair that I was just thinking of when I saw the priest. I don't know how much of it is
beware.
How much of it is actually inspired. Actually, speaking of Mel Brooks, there's a lot of stuff where it's like they're very clearly just trying to do like the scene we all know from a horror film, like the how do I kill a werewolf? How do I kill a vampire?
A bullet.
A bullet. A bullet.
A bullet.
A gold bullet. 24 karat
gold.
No, you missed the part where he's like, a bullet. A bullet. A bullet. Clark closes window. What kind of bullet?
Literally, I felt like that was parodying Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got.
Yeah, which is so funny. Because Young Frankenstein is a parody. You're parodying the parody.
Well, I mean,
and yeah, I do like the carrot pun too.
Oh my god, I was laughing so hard. Well, you know what it is? If it was just 24 karat, I wouldn't care. It's the fact that you could definitely tell, like, the entire time the priest was building up to this. That's what I loved about it. Like, the look on his face afterwards, and Victor just being like, oh my god.
And you know what adds to the joke even more when he runs out of bullets and he has to kill him with a 24 karat carrot.
A 24 karat carrot, yeah. I love the puns in this movie are like 10 out of 10.
They're just great.
I hope you guys know what I mean when I say this. The Aardman puns were 10 out of 10. The DreamWorks puns were...
Yeah.
Could you like pick out which ones?
Beware the moon.
Oh,
and it's his butt.
Yeah, I felt like Jeffrey Katzenberg was like, "Hey, we need a butt joke in here," and they were just like, "Fine, whatever."
The thing is, because there was a butt joke in the fourth short that we saw, like that came out after this movie, I can semi-believe it.
They were tainted by Katzenberg.
But there was definitely like confirmed that like they kind of had to like un-British the humor a little bit for American audiences, and you can kind of tell that they definitely wouldn't have like a joke about the Yorkshire border like they do in one of the shorts.
Yeah,
that's one that where like all the Americans are like, what the fuck is that? What the hell is Yorkshire?
Is that a kind of cheese?
See, if it was America, they would just do a New Jersey border, and then it would be like,
where do you think all these bunnies came from? Probably New Jersey.
New Bunswick?
Oh, fuck
okay,
off.
all right. Maybe DreamWorks should have had more involvement. Maybe we're wrong about that.
Oh my god, there's so many great visual gags.
Actually, no. Wash, I'm sorry, they beat you to that pun. When Gromit is making food for the rabbits, and the rabbits are getting out and eating food and just causing like mild mischief, he looks into the the little thing labeled buns, and he opens up the thing, and there are bunnies inside. So the movie actually did beat you to that one.
Well, that one's visual, so it's fine.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
No, it was cute. I liked it. I'm just saying, DreamWorks didn't need to have more involved.
there were also like a few like saucy jokes in this one, like way more than I think there were.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean when I say like the DreamWorks joke,
Like my wife's brassicas, then they're like holding up like seductively, like ravaged in the night, like wink wink for the adult.
Katzenberg was like, yeah, that's good.
Katzenberg still sounds like he's from Ants.
Again, I don't think that I don't think they're like it's like all the bad jokes are
it's
American.
not bad jokes. It's raunchier. That's a huge part of DreamWorks' identity, and not a big part of Wallace and Gromit.
It's
but not this obscene.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I necessarily think it's bad, just that it clashes.
Oh, like when they're at when they're at what's her name again?
Lady Tottington.
Lady Tottington. When they're at Tati's secret garden, and she holds out the two melons. Oh, they're not melons, but they're two like large, very large round vegetables, and she's making like weird jokes about that.
There was also one she's like, I have to show you something important or something. There's some phrase she used that made it sound like dirty, and I'm just like, come on.
But if we're talking about that scene, I don't know why this made me laugh so hard. When
the butterfly?
No. When I mean yes, okay. But not what I'm talking about. Specifically when Wallace is turning into the were-rabbit, Gromit is there and he's trying to snap him out of it. So he grabs a tomato that's nearby, throws it at Wallace. Wallace basically does the horizontal version of a nickel. Right, a second goes out of the way, and Gromit's just like, come on.
No, but it's like he throws it and it goes perfectly into this. Like he just scored a 3-pointer.
Wallace, look over here. Yeah.
But like in that same scene, like we were talking earlier about like little jokes that they just kind of they have a joke and they move on from it completely. Like she reveals her garden, a butterfly lands on her arm. It cuts to Wallace saying something. It cuts back. She claps, says lovely, and then she like realizes what she does and she like wipes away the butterfly.
Yes. Listen, the butterflies are not fuzzy little creatures. It's fine. All right, well, now that we spent a half hour talking about the jokes, we want to talk about the characters?
I mean, there's Wallace and Gromit who are Wallace and Gromit.
I'm gonna have a hot take, probably. I don't know. I think so far, Gromit has to be the best character in any DreamWorks movie we've seen. I love Gromit so much.
He's so good.
He's so good. Not a single line of dialogue.
I feel like there wasn't nearly enough of the pathos or some of the sadder like notes that we see in other stores. Especially Close Save. Like, oh my god, that stuff is just heartbreaking. But I do like that they just like established this. It helps to have a silent character to have so you can have quiet moments.
Yeah.
And like otherwise it would be like constant like noise back and forth.
Yeah.
But for him to like go to his own garden and just like gently take care of the giant like watermelon he's been working on. And he plays like the plant suite, which is like a great little like nod to Plantasia. I love Plantasia so much. But like he's playing like music for his vegetables, and he's just being like so careful and just like looking at his calendar. It's been like one day, and yeah, he uses the melon to save the day. But unfortunately, it also just gets like crushed, and I feel like there wasn't. I don't know how much you really need for it, but I still felt like there wasn't enough there from that conclusion.
Yeah,
like, it may have been funny that he was like, "Oh, he ran into
his own melon."
Yeah, but I mean, the movie didn't really pay much attention on it either. He runs to the melon, he gets upset about it. He's like, "Ugh," and then it just kind of moves on.
On the bright side, though, he does win the carrot that he wants. So
yeah, it's a little dented, but
that's technically ending the arc a bit. He gets a nice reward. He gets what he deserves
everything
for
that he
being a
had
good
to
boy.
go through. It was nice that he got what he was looking for from the start.
And this film learns from a close shave to have like a direct antagonist to actually that like the
I was about to say there's a direct antagonist in
all of
Wrong
these.
Trousers.
in all of the shorts.
Oh yeah, even the robot technically.
Yeah, sort of the robot.
Villains of what the villain canon of of Wallace and Gromit.
Like everybody is just out to kill Gromit.
Yeah. Not even Wallace.
Not even-
well,
really not
actually,
even
this time Wallace. This time they do want to kill Wallace,
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. This is the exception.
and the next short too.
Sure.
They have like someone very similar to Preston, but like way more feeble.
Like complete incompetence.
complete-
Yeah, he's a competent, way snootier. Preston was like a calculating machine, literally.
Yeah.
And Philip is like this.
He's like LeFou.
It's gotta that dog that's gotta be like the best design in the movie.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
It's so funny. It's so stupid.
It's
so
stupid,
ugly.
It's so funny the way that he walks.
Yes.
I
Like we have,
loved it. Or
how do we find the pussiest dog walk?
Oh, I know.
it's really
I feel
not,
like they
I
watched
guess
a dog, like certain dogs walk, and I was like, that'll do.
that'll do. I mean, I guess Philip is more of a threat than Victor, honestly.
At one point, Victor's like, kill it! Kill the rabbit! And he just like,
Yeah, it's just like burying a
Barrow's
van.
under the van.
he has his limits. He's not stupid.
Yeah.
He'd rather pick on like an easier prey like Gromit.
Yeah.
And he like tries to kill Gromit on like the plane,
Oh
and
my
then the plane like runs out. of,
Oh my
like,
God.
the
my
plane.
God.
And they have this long bit where they're like trying to like get the coins, and Philip is like, let me, and he pulls out his coin purse,
The rose purse.
his little cheese purse, and he puts in the
Pulls
money.
it out, puts it in,
And then-
he's like, and
know,
puts it in, and then
No, we need to highlight that dumb smile.
and then he puts it in, and then he immediately continues the fight.
Go right back to Terry. Oh, how about like it's not really to do with Philip, but like immediately before, where they're like crashing in, and Gromit hangs on to something, and the plane, the plane like the Philip's plane falls off, and it just explodes.
It just explodes.
Yes!
It just explodes.
Like a
It's
fire-
just like does a hardcore like
It's just a
explosion.
fireball, and then Gromit is just kind of like he's just kind of like shocked, and then just moves.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
Wallace
just
is
like
right there.
wow, we're doing
Wow,
that
thing
now. aren't
blew
we?
up.
I'm just glad he survived. That's all. No, we talked about Gromit, but what about Wallace?
Wallace is he's naive, but he's not mean. Like he's not like how he was in Wrong Trousers.
There's less they could like figure out to do with Wallace other than be like generally incompetent and like instigate the whole damn thing. Like after that whole sequence with the mind manipulator, he just kind of takes the back seat, which makes it like more obvious
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
he's the guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What works about Wallace is that it's not easy to have a character say, we could try out my newest invention, the Mind Manipulator 3000, and just have it be like kind of a footnote. Like, that's definitely a Wallace thing, and I appreciate that.
or that like he's trying to fix everything while he's like half rabbit, and and he's just like this. No, my name, my brain is like Rabbit Mush or Bunny Mush or something like that.
Oh, what? These ears? It's gotta be that dumb veggie diet you have on, Gromit.
It's just what's the word he used?
Oh, it's toxins. It's the
Toxin.
toxins coming out. This is so unbelievable that I was like, okay, that's good. That's good. If you can't like make a good excuse for why he doesn't believe it, make a terrible one.
Yeah, exactly. The movie is called Wallace and Gromit, so I guess it would have been nicer to have more Wallace, but it's probably, I think, like, okay, well, what can you get rid of to make room for more Wallace? And I can only really think, like, to get rid of some of the Gromit stuff, and I don't know if I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's definitely like I think they realized pretty early on that like they realize who's like the driving force.
Yeah,
I mean,
Gromit.
they always
It's always
they
Gromit. It's always
knew.
Gromit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's from there it becomes more of a challenge of like how do you have like a hero who doesn't talk
Yeah.
like at all?
Which I mean, that's something that Wallace and Gromit has been great about from the very because in A Day Out or whatever,
Yeah.
Wallace barely spoke in that one. So
Yeah.
from the very beginning, they've had the challenge of, how do you make something, like you said, with a main character that doesn't talk? And of the shorts, 3 out of 4 did a great job. And the only reason the fourth one didn't is because Wallace talked like a lot. I mean, obviously Wallace spoke more because this is a longer movie. This is a movie, not a short. But I feel like relative to the length of the experience, I feel like Wallace spoke less here than in the fourth one, the fourth short. And I like that. I like
agree.
that.
He spoke when he needed to be.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if like the I forget what that one was it called, Baker's Dozen? No, it wasn't that.
Loaf of
a Matter of Loaf and Death. That's right.
Matter of Loaf and Death. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me wonder if that one was supposed to be like a bigger film, and they had to like truncate everything down because it definitely felt like more packed, more rushed.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, "Hey, can we get this done? Can we get a sequel done in 5 years?" And I'm like, "No." Oh, let's just do what you got and put it together.
They spent like 3 years just like getting ready to shoot the film.
Yes.
And
oh my god.
Yeah.
Then they spent 2 years actually shooting it. And again, like we talked about it before, like them getting like 2 minutes was all they could do in a week. Like it just took forever. And they had
stop motion. It's great, but my god, is it time consuming?
Oh yeah.
It definitely looks like this is a Wallace and Gromit short on a big screen level. I don't think that the story really matches that. Like, I don't feel like the stakes in the story have really been heightened all that much. This could still be like a standard Wallace and Gromit story because they're already like very madcap and very ridiculous. It's just more that like they have way more characters to deal with in these 90 minutes.
It's kind of funny because, I mean, I guess that's another thing that Wallace does because Gromit is just dog. Wallace is the one that interacts with everybody. Wallace is the one that it takes the initiative to solve the problem initially. Wallace is the one that causes the problem. So I guess that's another thing Wallace is pretty important for, is being like the instigator, so to speak. And then I don't want to say it's a case of like, the protagonist changing from Wallace to Gromit. Like, it's a Wallace and Gromit short. It's called Wallace and Gromit, but it's really like Gromit and Wallace. I see what you mean, but I know you're not really saying that in terms of being like, that's why this movie is bad. That's not quite what you're saying. But
No.
and it's just to say, like, in its defense, more generally speaking, I love movies like that where there's like the stakes are there. The stakes are there, so like there's enough. But like most of what the movie comes from, even like the cause of the stakes, even are just kind of like, the characters are vibing, doing their own thing. I love movies like that. As long as they're fun, enjoyable, and there's enough, and there's more than enough here.
Like I said in the beginning, there's kind of like just enough of the story to like hang the gags onto.
Yeah,
and just like build out all the wild sequences from there.
I can understand the perspective that somebody would have of, Wallace and Gromit worked better as shorts, stretched out. It could be a little much, but I just think the variety of the gags and just like the moments are just there's so much fun in so many different ways. Like you got, your standard goofy Wallace and Gromit gags. You got some more emotionally heavy story related ones. You've got your horror gags. There's just great variety in the gags, and it's stop motion, so it looks amazing. Like Aardman stop motion, this is gonna be a looker.
Like there's also like the thing where, and I'm sure this is like partly from like storyboarding, where like we talked about it, where they have like just like a tiny joke that they just throw in. There's so many moments that like feel like they had like they already had like these bits, and they're like, this moment right here, how can we make this funny?
Yeah.
Gromit takes one of those like bumper car airplanes, I think that was, and like like turns it into a plane, and it's like, okay, that's funny enough. How can we make it funnier? Have an insert shot of him removing the child limiter from the pedal.
Yes.
or like the crowd turns into an angry mob. Okay, so we can just have them like put out pitchforks, or we can have a guy that runs a garden supply stand turn it into an angry mob supply stand. Again, or like we gotta the priest. It's all in this book, and it's like we can just have a book that shows the were-rabbit and like all the other like mystical monsters. But first, we have like a quick gag about like pro-nun wrestling.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Thank you for bringing that. I almost forgot. Thank you for bringing that up.
Big bad habits.
And when Victor goes in there, he even points it out. He's like, big bad nun wrestling. And the priest is like, no.
No, this book. It definitely feels like they were like, we gotta put every moment of here, it's gotta be funny. Because otherwise, there wouldn't be much to say in terms of story.
Yeah. But again, this is when I say like there's just enough. When it isn't funny, it's not because 95% of the time. It isn't because it's like the jokes aren't landing or like it's a weird setup. Like I said, there are moments where it's like really tense. And there are moments where like, the story gets to speak. There are moments that are tense in the story, like the emotions speak for themselves that are also funny. They're there. But there are moments that just get to like, I'm glad that, I mean, we all knew Wallace wasn't going to die, but I'm glad that the movie at least had like the, I don't know, I guess the self-respect to mostly play it straight until we heard Chase. Don't forget the crackers. Like the way that they brought Wallace back, they're like, okay, the stupid part is that we're bringing him back to life. Let's make that funny. The fact that he made like a noble sacrifice for Gromit as the were-rabbit, like, we can give that a little bit of weight. I appreciate that.
Hey, if there's any way to bring back Wallace.
Oh, it would be with cheese. Is Wallace immortal?
With cheese?
Yeah, so long as he's got the cheese. Maybe the crackers, I don't know. But so long as he's got the cheese.
You can't forget the crackers now.
It is like a payoff to like like an early gag where like the way that they wake up Wallace is by bringing out like a robot arm bringing out a plate of cheese.
Yes,
and his nose like follows it and he slams into the wall.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. You're right.
Oh my god, that's so good.
And it's the next morning after they catch the rabbit in the beginning. Wallace goes through the hole to the kitchen like he always does in the source and stuff, and he's a little bit chubbier, and he's like, could use some assistance, and Gromit walks over to the assistance lever, which is a giant hammer.
Yeah, just a big old mallet.
And just hits him and brings him down.
That hole's getting smaller, I'm telling you.
And that hole's getting smaller. And the thing is, like, it could just be like a one-off like joke, but it pays off later because that's the diet. That's the whole thing.
Yep.
That's the whole reason why he wants to have the mind manipulation. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it my way.
With my latest invention.
With technology. It didn't work.
Oh, it didn't work all right.
No. Okay, well, I mean, we're going to talk about, what it did. We should move along and just looking at the timer and everything. So we could talk about Toddington and Victor, but if we're going to talk about Wallace, I want to talk about Hutch.
Yes.
Oh my god. This I'm so glad that we watched the shorts first.
Yeah.
Because if we had just gotten into this, we'd be like, he's just saying like nonsense. What is this?
It's all just
it's all quotes.
Yeah.
It's all quotes. Like at one point he quotes the line that I brought up. The bounce is gone from his bungee.
I brought this up before we started talking, just to have this in the podcast. My favorite thing about Hutch is that, like Wash said, it's quotes, but it's specifically like, if you had somebody watch the shorts like one time and they're like, oh yeah, I know Wallace, just write some quotes down, put them in a hat, take them out. That's Hutch's dialogue.
That's literally it.
It's like they're making. It's like they hate
Yeah.
Wallace. It's like they're making fun of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, they are.
Oh, it's so funny though, and I know I said this already, but like the setup for that and the payoff being how Wallace finds out that he's the were-rabbit. Genius.
Like it's a mirror that shows how superficial you are.
Oh my god.
I love this movie. I'm saying it outright. I love this
It's so
movie.
good. It's so good. But yeah, Hutch is great. And again, he's just like a gag character, but he is essential to the plot because he does make
Yeah.
Wallace realize that he is the were-rabbit. And originally I think, no, Hutch is the were-rabbit because originally he's just like...
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
he's the
he,
were-human.
Like, does the burp. Yeah.
But then you just see, and the reveal of him is great because you just
The
see,
slippers.
like,
The
you just-
slippers.
It's
The
in this
slippers.
dark box. He opens it. You see the slippers. You see the green like vest that he probably knitted, and he just jeez.
And Wallace and Gromit just look at each other.
I've made a terrible mistake.
So I mean, if there are more Hutch quotes that you want to talk about, go right ahead. Otherwise,
If you want to hear the Hutch quotes, listen to our last
this
episode.
is the last episode.
Yeah.
We could talk about Victor and Tottington.
Toddington.
Yeah, let's start with Tottington.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because I have a little less to say about her.
Yeah.
I don't like love her, but I mean, you know, comparing to like all the characters in the shorts, other than Wallace and Gromit themselves, of course, I probably liked her like a little bit more than everybody else.
Yeah. I think she, out of all the love interests, she's the best.
Oh, she's definitely the best. I was like, not even close.
Yeah.
Like,
But,
Gwendolyn was good for the cheese punchline.
Yeah.
What's her name wasn't very good at all.
She's
She's the best one.
but the true love interest is Grum.
The true love interest is Gromit. That's true. She's a lot worse than Gromit, but who isn't? I guess what I like about her is that, I mean, obviously, you know, there's like the setup of her just being like, oh, the fluffy little creatures, but they really sell it, and I think that's what I like. That's what I like. When, you know, she comes to the really rough decision to have Victor shoot the were-rabbit, you know, you can tell it's like killing her.
Oh yeah.
Like everyone is celebrating. Victor shot the were-rabbit. It's dead. We could see it at our festival. Like literally, there's like a moment of silence, and everybody starts celebrating. She's like crying. She's like, "Can you at least tell me if it suffered?"
Let's have a moment of peace together. Yeah!
I guess what I like about her is that she grounds it. That's what I like.
She's believable.
Oh yeah. I just have to really quickly, like, I didn't even notice this until I watched like a behind the scenes footage, and that I suddenly noticed this clip is that they have like as part of the festival they have fireworks in the sky, and it's in the shape of a rabbit, and then there's another firework that blows it up.
Yes.
Oh,
She seems to be the only one that actually cares about the rabbits.
Yeah, everyone else.
Everybody else either suggests they want them dead, or Victor, who does want them dead.
Yeah. Honestly, they don't know. They don't care about. They care about the vegetable. It's
They
all
care about the
competition.
vegetables.
It's all they have.
Yeah.
Toddington's
Obviously, it's
rich.
all they have.
She's got everything. It's all that they have.
and so the film becomes a metaphor for capital punishment versus reform.
I don't know if there's exactly chemistry with her and Wallace, but they get along just fine. But her thing is like she doesn't want the rabbits to suffer. She calls Antipesto because she knows they're humane. She doesn't want Victor to do it, and actively tries to. She's like says multiple times how she tries to change him to like not be a hunter, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, because he's just too much into himself.
Yeah.
Much like Gaston.
Yes. Well, we'll get to that. Even when she finds out like Wallace is the were-rabbit, she's like does what she and she even gets mad at Victor. She's like, "You knew it was Wallace all along."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
She has like a little bit of like she like knocked out Victor at the very end, but aside from that, like she's just just being like, "Oh, please no," and then also she turns into I forget the character's name, but the woman who gets grabbed by King Kong. It just becomes that sequence. That whole thing. I do like that this like it's really creepy moment, but obviously they decide to play it up. Is that like the way that Victor traps Toddy is not with like rope or anything, but like using a pitchfork to pin her hair, her wide, her horizontal hair into like a something, and then he's like, oh, I like your hair pinned back, and then later on. She comes out and she has like bandages.
I'm the one saying this. The little X bandages are in her hair where the pitchfork was.
It's so great.
So good. So good.
Again, it's just like, well, how are we going to make this funnier?
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember Random had brought this up that, like, you know, Wallace gets the girl at the end. I was expecting them. I guess it's because I guess this one I can thank Random more than the movie for. But like when they had the fake out at the end, and it's like, no, they're not actually like in a relationship. She's still just like there. I like that.
Yeah, they just opened a bunny sanctuary together. Which honestly,
and Wallace is like, oh,
better.
we're gonna get the kiss, and then it's like, psych.
Yeah, it's like he's still single.
Yeah.
But honestly, they made rabbits together, and you know what? That's you can make a joke about that.
Yeah, true.
Let's talk about Victor.
Okay, Ralph Fiennes, in his most bombastic performance,
and even more self-absorbent Gaston. Like he makes Gaston look humble. That's
like all he cares about is hunting.
And getting the money.
It's getting the. If I can't get the money, then I can get your bunny. He goes like insane.
That's literally like I expect him to like twirl his mustache and fire the train. I'm pretty sure he's the one who put the closed road sign in there, like to have them turn around. He definitely did the tree, but I'm pretty sure it wouldn't surprise me if he put that sign up there too to get them there.
That scene though, when Wallace gets out of the car to try to lift the wood, and you see there's just the hurled axe.
Yeah,
good God.
Yeah, that's
oh my God,
that's insane. She's like, you think you could steal her from me? Well, I got to her first.
And then they decided to do like fisticuffs. Queensbury rules.
That bouncing animation of his, he was like floating in the air.
Yeah,
they really like to like play up the floatiness.
Also, I gotta be the one to say this. It's gotta be me. There's a certain
Random just made a certain gesture on his head.
There's a certain joke that they go with, I am Victor Quatermain. What you see is what you get. And it just and throughout earlier, they have this bunny machine that like sucks the bunnies out of the ground, which there's this whole great gag about it. I love that we'll mention as well. But it sucks a toupee off of him, and I'm like, well,
he's bald.
No, if we're gonna talk about the toupee, when he storms up to Wallace and says toupee, and Wallace goes, "Oh yes, payment. We take cash.
Good check. Oh, grand. We take cash or check.
My toupee."
And then he pulls out a toupee, he puts it on his head, it turns out to be a rabbit.
It's the bunny. I love how the bunny is just like, shh.
Just like waving.
Yeah, it's like, hey.
It's so cute. It's great. He warmed up on me a bit. Originally, I thought I wasn't gonna like him, but I don't know. He's funny.
I was just gonna say, I think specifically, the character is fine. Ralph Fiennes is excellent.
Yes.
Ralph Fiennes, like, he really hams this up.
It's so fun.
He really knows, like, he knows exactly what kind of character this needs to be, which is stupid.
Yes.
Stupid and not very strong. The scene where Toddy takes out a pansy spray and sprays it into his eyes, and he's going like, oh.
I love. Why is it called? Is pansy spray a thing, or
a pansy is a flower?
Oh, fair.
Yeah. Also, this guy is like so cheap. He gives her roses at his first like introduction to the film, and later you see that he actually cuts the roses from her garden. I'm like, how cheap can you get?
It's so funny.
Oh, it's hilarious. And then when he finds out that Wallace is with her, and you just hear him go, "Oh, Totty," he's like, "Totty," and
Yeah.
And
he
then
throws the flowers, and then the dog
Philip-
beats him.
Philip
beats-
like.
Oh my god!
God,
And then
Philip.
there's like, oh my god, there's another great moment with him when he's with the police officer, and he's like, and you see the police officer's with a megaphone. He's like, and then he goes, "I don't want to cause a panic, but the beast isn't actually dead yet. The
beast isn't actually dead yet." Whoops.
Oh my god, if we're talking about that police officer, like after the were-rabbit, they have the meeting in the church, and like, I'll tell you what this was. This was arson. Someone arson around.
I was gonna lead to that because
Like, so that's a joke that only works with British.
That
Yes.
only works with the.
I feel like Jeffrey Katzenberg would be like, I don't know if we should have that joke, and they're like, no.
Let's cast
If you
Woody
want
Allen
the moon
instead.
joke, we gotta have that. What another thing they noticed, Victor comes into the church, he's like, I will deal with it by shooting it, or something like that. And then Tati is like in the church, and you see like a holy light and a hail,
And there's
And
the
the
angel wings behind her.
The
yeah,
wings
but it's
behind
just,
her.
and then she moves, it's just like scenery of the church. And then she's like, I think Pesto will find a way to deal with it. And he's like, what do you have to do? And then she goes, Wallace. And then he just goes, oh,
No, wait, no, you
wait,
skipped the,
wait, I'm not done yet.
No, you
just go,
skipped the
oh.
gag right before that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
did?
Yeah, because like you established that like she has like the angel wings in the back, and it cuts immediately to Victor, who had for some reason
Oh,
there's
yeah!
like this devil horn right behind him.
I forgot about that.
Anyway, continue.
And then it cuts to Wallace, who just is put on the spot, and he's like, "Oh, we'll have a big trap." And then Gromit
And
just goes,
Gromit. Gromit.
and then
then-
it was like, yeah, that's
Okay, that
"Yeah,
could
we think
work.
he's got it."
I think he's got it.
that just might be crazy enough.
Honestly, again, that's where it was like Simpsons mob mentality. There it is.
Yeah. I guess we could talk about the rabbits as a whole, but we only have 7.5 minutes left.
I mean,
So-
there's not much to say. They're cute, but they're not minions.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that.
I hate that I gotta classify
I know,
every
I know,
small
I know.
cube thing that's a group as
If-
minions or not minions.
If we all agree on that, we don't have anything to say. I would like to talk about the ending or the climax, I guess.
The only thing I will mention about the rabbits is that my favorite joke with them was it's off to bunny heaven with you, and then he gets sucked up and he thinks he's going to
Yeah,
the
there's
light at the
holy
end of the tunnel.
and then
Yeah.
it looks like he's going to promised land. He sees floating with other bunnies, and it pans out to reveal the machine.
Yeah.
That's my favorite moment.
That was a
And-
good, yeah.
Maybe the bunnies howling, which is weird.
Oh yeah,
That was cute too. That was cute too.
That happened.
I like
that happened a couple
I like
times.
in the credits that the bunnies are doing the going to heaven thing. I thought that was fun.
Yes.
Yeah, they're perfectly fine.
Yeah,
If I had to rank them against the sheep, I think the sheep had a lot more like visual gags.
The sheep are,
Yes.
the sheep are definitely better.
Yeah.
The Shaun of the sheep being as big as it is proof of that.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
But okay, so the climax, right? I mean, like the ending of the movie, super fun. I love them bringing the big costume back, the girl giant monster bunny, to have Victor push out. So they go, "That's the monster," and that's how Victor gets his comeuppance. That's fantastic.
He gets
Wallace-
run out of town.
Wallace being revealed as immortal thanks to cheese. That's fantastic. The punchlines at the end. That's all good. The actual climax, I have a similar problem that I have with Kiki's delivery service. I think it's too high action for a movie like this.
I disagree. I feel like it's peppered with enough gags to fit the tone.
I think that it also it kind of it builds up so much, and also I feel like there's exactly this amount of action in the source,
Yeah, especially close shave.
especially close shave. Like this, like that had the exact same dogfight too, like exactly the same plane.
I don't know. It just feels like too big scale. Like, Wallace and Gromit, they're like, these fun little adventure. I mean, I know, I guess it's like a movie, but it didn't feel like that much bigger throughout the movie, or at least bigger enough to where it was something that I noticed. And then just feel like it escalated a little too far, I guess. Like, I felt like it's similar to how I felt about Kiki's and how it's like, well, you have to end a movie like this, right? Instead of it just being like, how...
If I have an issue with it, it's perhaps not so much with it being like going too far, as it probably just kind of taking a bit long.
Yeah, that's the thing. If anything,
yeah.
the pacing was a little weird with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I can agree with that. I can agree.
It felt like they were like trying to end this at like a few different points, and they couldn't quite get it yet. And it's like there's just multiple different parts happening at once.
Yeah.
That just kind of threw the pace in a bit towards the end, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would take this over Kiki's because, like Random said, the gags are still there, and we talked about a few of the gags before, like Philip with the purse, like fantastic. But I don't know. I mean, like, and it's similar to Kiki's, where it's like I don't know if I can call it bad, but it's more so for me at least jarring. It's not bad like they should have cut it. They should have replaced it with Gromit spin kicking,
Drinking tea,
drinking tea, like punching Victor in the face and they win. Yeah, like no. But it's. I mean, I know the question is always, well, how would you have ended it? And I mean, I didn't give it enough thought. But I don't know. I wish there was a way for more like not grounded. I guess like well, Kiki's was grounded, but as far as like this, I guess like smaller scale stories. I just kind of wish they didn't always have to end with these huge action scenes. Like we just kind of keep up those vibes.
I get what you're saying. I just disagree because of the climax of Close Shave and the fact there are gags thrown in. I understand though. I get where you're coming from. I just agree to disagree.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the gags are great.
Yeah, that's the thing. If it was like a straight action scene where no gags happen, then I would feel it'd be totally out of tone. But we know these guys. They threw in as much gags as they could, both good and bad. Like they filled so much gags they threw in a DreamWorks one with "Beware the Moon." Like
there were a few that felt like that, but "Beware the Moon" is just the one I remember.
Yeah,
with Victor, his comeuppance at the end. I mean, I already said I really liked it, but I like that. Philip is the one to actually actually attack him.
Yes,
just give Philip that one winning moment. He deserves it.
Yeah, he's not that bad. He gave Gromit a nickel or a dime actually. He has a nice little. Doesn't he knit too? Isn't there like a shot of him knitting, or is that Gromit? No, it's Gromit.
No, it's Gromit. Yeah.
Gromit was knitting cars to like de-stress because he was getting scared.
Okay. I have a minute and a half to say this. I'm glad I remembered last second, but you were saying knitting, and I'm like, oh yeah, like in the opening scene, or like one of the pictures he's knitting. I said this in our 3-person Discord server. I'm listening to the Wallace and Gromit theme arrange, and I'm like, all right, this is really good. Who did the music? And literally, as I'm thinking this on screen, Hans Zimmer. I'm like, Hans Zimmer did the Wallace and Gromit, and like their theme is sprinkled throughout the movie and it's so good.
My favorite music is the like motif of when they're driving the cars, like da 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 da. I just really like that a lot.
I am shocked when Wallace quote unquote dies. The arranger of their theme that plays. I'm like, wow, it got a little emotional with their theme.
It's
that
good.
really worked. That really worked.
It's just those few notes, but they really figured out how to plant those. So you just it helps to just give everything a very whimsical tone, which is what it really helps to like set it for like this sort of Halloween movie.
Exactly. I mean, it's Hans Zimmer. You know he's gonna kill it, but specifically, like I said, how well he used their theme, I loved.
Absolutely.
There's not a character I didn't like, or I was like, oh god, them, which is
I can agree.
Something I could say about, which is something I can't say about a lot of the DreamWorks movies.
Yeah, I can't say that about like Chicken Run.
Yeah. Oh my god, comparing this to Chicken Run is like night. We'll get into that in my final thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I'll try to end this with this. Definitely, like compared to Chicken Run, like one of the things we talked about is that like the first like 15 minutes and the last 15 minutes felt like really solid, incredible shorts, and then they had to figure out how to like bridge everything together. This definitely feels like a complete story. There's no one portion where it's just like this is the highlight of the whole thing, and then everything else is kind of phased in comparison. Like they really do their due diligence to make sure that as much in the story works as you can.
You know what else works as well as you can?
The timer.
The timer.
We finished that podcast in 125 RPM. That's rabbits per minute. I had to throw that one in. I talked about this right before the recording that I did have to watch this kind of slapdash like in parts. So I don't think I was like as fully immersed as I would be. I definitely made my definitely said my piece about that. It felt like the scale hasn't truly matched to the to like theatrical feature film, but if you like stop motion, you cannot go wrong with Courage of the Were-Rabbit. It just has like a bajillion different jokes inside here. It has so many little references to the shores. I didn't even get to mention that like in that opening sequence when they're like driving out to their client, they have like the little pond that flips into a driveway from a close shave. I was just like, oh, it's back, it's back.
They did it. They did it, Gromit.
It was just those sweet little things. Gromit gets to like sing without saying a word in a feature film like this. It really helped to have like I said, it really helped to have like a silent character, so that you just kind of have to have moments that breathe. And I felt that like this really worked. I found this out like shortly before we started recording this. If you probably should watch this anyway, because you're not gonna see any of these things again, because the day after the film opened in America and it like opened #1, you're like, oh, that's great. The next day, the warehouse with all of their archives, all of their
day
props
after.
Oh my god.
burned down. There were only a few figures left that just happened to be like on tours in like museums, and those were the ones that were saved. But props, characters, locations burned down, lost to history. So you're kind of seeing something that you're just not gonna get to see again.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many. There's like years, decades of work in all of these movies. All of these shorts that it's just gone, and maybe that's part of what makes the fourth short feel like weird in comparison to had to like do everything from scratch. So it's sorry to end on this somber note, but I wanted to really quickly throw that in.
No. I just didn't realize. I knew that happened just the day after. That's hard.
Jeez,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, like there's a clip of him where he's just like, I was having phone calls about like, oh, it's great news, it's #1 in America, oh, and then at the same time he was hearing like terrible news.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, poor Aardman. I hope, but they bounce back. They're still working hard.
Thankfully, all they need is just some cheese, and then they'll resurrect Wallace.
Yeah, Wallace.
Anyway, the rest though, meh.
I can't wait for the next Aardman stop motion animated film from DreamWorks.
Yeah, the next one.
The next one.
Next one.
We'll talk about that. So that's all I have to say.
I really liked this film more than I thought I would. It was a blast. I love the jokes through and through. I love the art, the stop motion. I love the animation. I love the gags. I love the jokes. I love the voice acting. Really, everybody did a good job with that. And it was just such a fun blast. I didn't think I would enjoy it again as much as I did, but I really, really did. I don't know if it's me just enjoying Halloween movies or just me really enjoying how everything was just so funny. And there's jokes literally all over the goddamn place. Out of all the 10, 11. No, 11. Then I missed one.
Uh-oh.
That's it. I don't have Shark Tank.
Oh. We just did Shark Tank. No. We didn't just do Shark Tank. We did Madagascar.
Out of all the 11 films that we have looked at so far, Wallace and Gromit is #3 at the moment. So like I really, really enjoyed it. It's just below Shrek 2 and Prince of Egypt, with Prince of Egypt being #1 and Shrek 2 being #2. Again, rankings might change, but I will tell you this: it's better than Chicken Run, it's better than Spirit, better than Sinbad, better than Shark Tale. It's just a fun blast.
Everything worked. There's nothing about this movie that I was like bad. Things that I wasn't crazy about, and for me personally, the climax does hold it back a little bit. Ending's great, but the climax holds it back a little bit. Other than that, no real complaints. And I mean, I know we talked about the visual gags and claymation and stuff, but I mean, really, it's not our fault, but we did not talk about the animation enough. It's so stellar. I've been thinking about, ranking-wise, I've been thinking about it a lot. I think I'm with Random. I'm going to put it below Shrek 2 and Prince of Egypt at number 3. I have Prince of Egypt at number 2, and I really wanted to put it above Prince of Egypt, but I do think the climax is enough to put it, like, just under. But, I mean, the top, geez, looking here, the top, like, 4 movies for DreamWorks right now, bottom to top for me, Shrek 1, Wallace and Gromit, Prince of Egypt, Shrek 2, like, just those movies by themselves, like, what a lineup. I mean, we can ignore, like, Shark Tale and Sinbad and Spirit and all that stuff, but just now that, I mean, even ignoring, like, the rankings, if we're just, like, talking about the movies, like, this is starting to become, like, a list, right? Like, what are the DreamWorks movies? Now we're actually at a point where we can, like, list them. It's like, okay, there's Ants, Prince of Egypt, Shark Tale, Shrek 2, Shrek 1, Wallace and Gromit. Like, we can actually, like, it's a list now. And just seeing all these movies and, on the one end you got Sinbad, on the other end you got Shrek 2, or on the one end you've got Shark Tale, on the other end you got Prince of Egypt. Like, it's so crazy. And Wallace and Gromit is right there on top with the best of them, I think. But it's just so crazy looking at this now.
I am still waiting for like that huge, that huge like DreamWorks film for me. That one that just like changes everything for me.
It's like your Cars 3.
Yeah, these are very, very fun or very, very enlightening films. And then also they're like fucking awful dog shit. Like,
yeah, exactly. Again, Wallace and Gromit, Wallace and Gromit, Shrek 2, Shrek 1, Prince of Egypt, stuff like that, and then Shark Tale, Spirit,
Sinbad, Ants. I'm calling it Ants.
Mares.
Mares.
You say you include Ants, I say you can't because that movie was a fever dream.
It's not real.
It's not real. You can't convince me Ants was real. And if you do convince me that it's real, then I think it's better than you think it is.
On that note, I almost said this is Ants. This is Wallace and Gromit.
We are talking about rankings. I agree with you too that this is also my number 3 below Shrek 2 and Prince of Egypt. I originally at first I had this below Shrek, but I think like Wallace and Gromit is just like as a whole a better film.
Gromit's in it.
Gromit's in it. It looked incredible. And it's just sad. now we know like what happens. Mm-hmm. It's just sad.
Yeah.
Anyway. This has been Wallace and Gromit in The Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
Gee! I don't know.
We still don't have Get another joke.
Just not even a joke, it's me shouting cheese. I should have brought cheese to the podcast and ate it. That's alright, I brought water, which is what we all know is secretly cheese.
Everybody knows that water's made of cheese.
You know what's not made of cheese?
Our podcast.
And on next episode, we're going to 2006, and we're talking about the most memorable DreamWorks animated film, Over the Hedge.
Oh, I'm excited for that for a couple reasons.
Yep.
You'll see when the episode comes out.
Weirdly, that movie I've seen like a few times.
Me too.
I've seen that way more than Wallace and Gromit.
Okay, that's not true. That's not true for me. But I have seen it quite a bit. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yes, when we get to it. Until then, if you like what you listen to, you can check out our Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/WRK podcast. We'll let you know when the next podcast comes out, which would usually be on youtube.com/WRK podcast. You can subscribe to us there, comment, leave a like, click the bell. I don't know what the bell does, but click it. And also, like, listening to us in audio form at wrk.simplecast.com and wherever else you may get your podcast. With that, I've been the dog wash.
I'm Random Cheese here.
You did this in the last one, too.
Oh, did? God damn. I'm not original.
I'm Claire.
We'll meet you over the hedge.
Yeah.
Until then, cheerio.
Wensleydale.
Not even Wensleydale.
End it, please. End it.
Okay.
End my suffering.